I just made it back not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, I literally, like literally, bro. Mm-hmm. I sent it to you. I sent it to your guy. Yeah, I sent it to. I sent it to him.
What's your favorite snack? You in that outfit.
I'm still in Flint. I said I'm still in Flint, bro. Yep. Okay, no problem. I said, yeah, I'm still here. I said I'm still in Flint. Probably like another week, and then I get with y'all. But thanks for inviting me too, man. And y'all can log on. Just log on, and we'll finish up. We're gonna finish up. Okay, gratitude and love, fam. Shalom alaikum. Peace. All right. Oh, sorry about that, man. We finna do a little nightcap. We're getting ready to do a little nightcap. Peace to everyone that's here. If you're here to learn, you're more than welcome. But I'm here to share some things. If you follow me, you saw my flyer that I put out. I always like to, put things out there so when people be joining on, you don't be out of context and be asking things that's not contingent on what we're talking about, and then get upset when I don't answer things. And people be all like, "Oh, can we ask questions?" Yes, when it's pertaining to the subject at hand. We can have other conversations of other things that's not contingent on what we're talking about later. But as we as we're talking about specific things, which is the lecture topic, if you guys following me, we want to talk about a few things. And also, I like to continue to clear things up for brothers and sisters that's, say they Moors and things, or promulgate and say something is more science, and try to get people caught up in things that's not even real, you know? So I know people may hear me talking about and if you've been following me, I'm trying to wait for a lot of different Moors to come on here, especially brothers that say they from temples. And I'll be like, how you don't know this? And that's why you see a lot of people confused, because a lot of things has already been proven not truthful. And so when some Moors be in these temples, they'll still leave someone in a burning house. You can't say you sincere when you wrong. You can't be sincerely wrong, and you can't well agree to disagree on things that's not disagreeable. If we operating under a certain pillar and a certain science, you have to understand that your teaching is wrong, and have to be willing to admit that and stand strong on things. You know? Excuse me. Because I always tell people, the science is correct, but what people promulgate and what be promulgated in some people's temples is just not right. I always talk about if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. That's like we say, your ID is for your salvation. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, we are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And if Moors don't want to obey these laws and these orders, you go back to the state where I, the prophet, found you. You know? This is nothing like that. And so when we talk about things, when we clear things up for people that just be making things up, when you hear Moors talk about, oh, some 1099 and some trust fund at the end of the rainbow, or you see Moors on social media with some fictitious plates with the 1099 on it. Well, today, I'm telling you, those people are not operating in their right mind frame. They're operating under illusion because they're playing with you. And I say, I don't play with you. And I don't tell nobody what to do. But once again, I'm going to tell you what it is and what it's not. Why? Because a teacher must do that. A map and a guide does that. That's why I tell people you can demonstrate whatever you want and how you feel, but you cannot say that's no science in what we teach in our temples. You can say that's some Roger Elvick stuff or some paradigm group stuff that you found on social media. Remember when I say this, man, I'm only going to be here around for a little bit longer. I'm only going to be around for a little bit longer as I continue to make my way because, as I explained, others want the teachings. We have to let go of the fugazi and stand on truth. The 1099 is no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. No more should be riding around with no plate on it talk about some 1099. I told y'all, once again, this is incompetency from amongst our brothers that won't stand on nothing. And I said, I'm going to continue to teach in circles. And I want people to be clear because it's righteousness in what we're doing. We just have to illuminate the stuff that's not righteous and rock with those that's right, like myself and my temple. I don't know too many other brothers that stand on righteousness. I know a lot of brothers that's out here playing. I know a lot of them out here cosplaying. I know that a lot. I know a lot of them out here dressing up as government officials, which is a felony. I know that for a fact. So remember, I always talk about this stuff, and that's why I be telling y'all, be careful of these individuals. Be careful of these Moors talking about they can do this and do that. Just because they have on a turban and a fez. They won't come on my page with it. If anybody on social media telling you they got the power to do this and do that, I bet you tell them, well, hold on, I'm gonna converse with Sheik Goodman Bey, and I'm gonna have him as my the person that got my best interest, and I'm gonna rock with him first before I move. I bet you they'll disappear and try to delete everything because they know I'm coming. And I done told us this. And why wouldn't you want to be correct on everything you do? Why would you want someone playing with you? So I'm telling y'all off the top that 1099 stuff, or it's a trust fund at the end of the rainbow. And you see these fictitious Moors with these fez and these turbans on with these fictitious plates with some 1099 on it. We're going to break this letter down. From Karen A. Yarbrough, Recorder of Deeds, Register of Torrens, Titles, Cook County, Illinois. Remember when I say the ccrd, the County Clerk Recorder of Deeds. So when people be out here not telling you the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, I say y'all lost. And people out here playing on social media. That's why once people start bringing up charges on people, that's when the feds start coming and everybody going to jail. All these people that's on the internet that have been telling you, you can do this, you can file this, and you can do this, and you can do this. All that Roger Elvick paradigm group stuff, sovereign citizen stuff, you going straight to jail. It don't pass go. Why? Because you're the one willingly breaking the law. How? On the internet. This is what I tell people all day. Man, that Moorish, poor stuff, that I dream of genie stuff is not real. Now, what's real is how the temple is set up. What's real is what I'm getting ready to break down. But all the mumbo jumbo stuff that you be seeing people doing fraudulently, making the feds look disrespectful, making the turban look disrespectful. And when I break this science down, man, y'all all practicing Muslims, especially if you a Mason. Why? Because I already showed it. So we not even getting ready to argue and don't come with no color stuff because we illuminate that as well. So let's clear this stuff up for my Moorish Americans, for my brothers that say, well, this is the Moorish Science Temple of America, or promulgate something that's similar, or promulgate things on social media. We have to show people that it's brothers that's out here that's right, regardless who like it or don't like it. So this was in 2016. To Sheikh Lionel Love L, Sheikh is Multa D Love L, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Listen clearly. When I say if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. But this is what people be telling you. But then when you listen to correspondence, you say, how? How can you force something down when it's clearly telling you that what you're saying it's not valuable? It's not viable. So you go into a burning house. So let's proceed. Sheikh and Sheikh is Love L. In the past few days, the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, which is the acronym, the ccrd. My homeboy said, man, y'all get the likes up. The ccrd has received several forms of emails correspondence from you regarding concerns that you have involving the organizational documents and other documents relating to the Moorish Science Temple of America, acronym MSTA. I am writing to address the concerns and clarify the role that the ccrd have as the custodian of public record. So what they say, everything about the Moorish Science Temple of America is public record. When you come in with that secret, we removing a veil on everything. If the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. Let's proceed. Many of your concerns were raised in the form of numbered questions. The ccrd's response to these questions are as follows. In her capacity as the register of the Torrens titles, what is the full scope of the fiduciary duty owed to document 1010-5905? Listen clearly. As the resulting entity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, as body politic, listen, named in said document. Their response. After reading your question, I assume that you are asking what the recorder's duties and responsibilities are in relation to this and other documents. In this regard, the recorder has two specific duties and responsibilities. First, the recorder is responsible for recording documents that are entitled to be recorded. Listen clearly. Second, the recorder has the responsibility of being the custodian of all recorded documents. Document 1010-5905, listen clearly, Moors, is an affidavit of organization under the Religious Corporation Act, 805 ILCS 110 ET.SEQ. Under the Religious Corporation Act, there are specific requirements that need to be met in order for a document to be recorded pursuant to this act. See precedent law case or doc number 805 ILCS 110-36. And at that time that this document was presented to the county clerk recorder of deed, it met all of those requirements and it was recorded. This is what I be telling y'all. You don't know. So stop jumping on things, and when they gonna use the stuff to get all y'all. Everybody that made videos, what's getting ready to happen is the same thing that happened to Big U. You're gonna have to stand on it. And you're not going to be able to stand on it because you ain't got it from no temple, you ain't got it from no sheik, and you dang sure ain't get it from me. It's over. And I told people, all your boldness, posting stuff on social media, you're going to have to prove it. I know so many Moors done got walked out their jobs, especially in Savannah, Georgia, because it's a right-to-work state, and it's really getting ready to hit the fan. As custodian for this document and other recorded documents, unless specifically restricted by law, the documents are made available for purchase by public. See doc number 55 ILCS 5-4-12002. In other words, if a customer requests to purchase a certified or non-certified copy of this document from the county clerk or recorder of deeds, the county clerk recorder of deeds will provide such a copy to the customer if they pay the fee. Just like I be telling y'all, I said, stop letting these people lie to you. What you mean, Sheik? Just like if I say I graduated from Grand Canyon University, you can get my official papers. I can get an unofficial document or unofficial. So the ccrd has no other duties and responsibilities relating to this particular document. In other words, the ccrd is simply a custodian of this record and makes this available to the public for a fee. What are the procedures for filing documents under the 805 ILCS Religious Corporation Act related to property, mortgage, notes, etc.? Response. Real estate related documents such as property deeds, mortgages, or notes are not recorded under the Religious Corporation Act. So when these Moors be all, this is our land and all this stuff, I said, man, something wrong with y'all. For the recording requirements for real estate related documents, please see the state recording statute at 55 ILCS 5 ET lowercase .SEQ. When I be telling brothers, you need to learn a little bit more. What are the procedures for including the Moorish Science Temple of America to the list of body politics on file with the Cook County Recorder of Deeds? Response. The ccrd does not maintain a list of body politics. With this said, as mentioned above, the County Clerk Recorder of Deeds accepts documents relating to the organization and corporation of religious entities under the Religious Corporation Act. The document that you are concerned with, document 1010-5905, has already been recorded by the ccrd. So when people be coming with that, oh, they part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I say, no, you not. Like, no, you're not. Why? Because everything you promulgating and everything you be talking, when I be hearing them, I'm like, dude, where you getting that from? Where you getting that stuff from? Because that ain't more science. Isn't it true that the accordance to the provisions made possible for the body politics under home rule, that documentation and laws of the Moorish Science Temple of America as a body politic are applicable to the management of said trust? Here go the response. The county clerk recorder of deed is unaware of what specific document and laws are applicable to the management of any trust maintained by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I would like to note that the Religious Corporation Act states that trustees of religious organizations shall have the care, custody, and control of the real and personal property of that organization. I already gave you precedent in law, 805 ILCS 110-43. The county clerk recorder of deed is not a trustee of any trust or trust assets being held by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So when people be getting on social media telling you that, I told you, they lying. And I don't care how good they make their lie. You done. Move out the way. And has this office done any competent research to determine who are the current executive rulers of the adapt chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, sheiks with powers and duties similar to that of trustees? Listen to what they say. Response. It is my understanding that the current sheiks of the Moorish Science Temple of America are reflected in recorded documents that amend document number 1010-5905. If there were any changes to the trustees of the organization that are not reflected in these documents, how could the CCRD, or well, that's just my input, but the CCRD would not be aware of it? How would the CCRD be aware of something when you establish something and then change and then you don't update it? How they gonna be aware? That's what I be telling people. I like, man, stop the cap. We gonna teach and we gonna lead the right way. That's what we do here at the BBT. Number 6, is this office aware that only the founder, Prophet Noble Ali, has the authority or authorization to issue document 1010, and such has the case since 8/1/1929. But when I talk about power of attorney, and when I be telling people you're not part of the temple, so you can't say what a person can do because you're not part of the temple. I mean, flat out. Responds, although I am unclear what you mean by issuing the document, but part of the recorder's duties include maintaining recorded documents and providing certified and non-certified copies of recorded documents for sale to the public. See law case 55 ILCS 5-4-12002. I'm telling you, man, like anybody come with the Fugazi, they're not gonna come here. Anybody be on here with all them titles of, yeah, I'm Moorish Science Temple of America. I've been part of the Moorish Science Temple of America for all these years. Man, you lying. And I'm not saying you lying, but how can you teach something different? And I'm giving you basic prerequisites. Watch this, number 7. Is this office aware that the authorization, issuance, and collections of funds resulting from the issuance constitutes a breach of registered fiduciary duty as custodian, criminal fraud, embezzlement, etc. Listen to this, what they tell these moops. Responds, your position is legally and factually incorrect. Please see the relevant statutory authority referenced above. In some of your other correspondence, you indicate that the CCRD has refused to file certain real estate and non-real estate related documents and index them under Trust 1010-5905. You see these Moors out here with these plates and all that outlandish stuff. To be clear, document 1010-5905 is not a trust document. I hope you let me say it again. Document 1010-5905 is not a trust document. So when you hear more saying that, they lying to you. It's not a trust document. How many times I got to tell y'all this? When any more ride around with some plate with some 1099 number on it, they playing. And they got to be an agent. And you can tell them I said it. This document is simply an affidavit of organization under the Religious Corporations Act. What this means is that the document serves as a record that the Moorish Science Temple of America is organized, incorporated as a religious corporation under the Religious Corporation Act. And the county clerk recorder of deed is not a trustee of any trust or trust assets maintained by or for the benefit of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That responsibility lies with what? The Moorish Science Temple of America. And they don't have nothing. That's what I'm telling you. The Moorish Science Temple don't have nothing. So when they talk that stuff, man, they need to stop with all that. This is our land, our state. You ain't got no. This is your vast estate. Man, the Moorish Science Temple don't have nothing. So stop it. And if you are having difficulty recording certain documents in our office, please refer to the recording requirements referenced in the legal authority cited above. Finally, you indicate that you would like the Moorish Science Temple of America to place employees in a county clerk recorder of deeds for various purposes. State law clearly indicates that you have no authority to demand that you employ members of your congregation in our office. The recorder has the right to control the internal operations of her office. See law case 55 ILCS 5-3-5005.2. And if you have any other further questions regarding this letter, please submit them in writing to me at James Gleaf at County of Cook, Illinois.Governor. This was in 2016. So, and I told y'all, man, these Moors be out here on some of the most outlandish games. Let's do a little bit more, because this don't take long. When people be acting like they don't know, and I say, well, I can show you letters to the mayor's offices that clear up everything what I'm saying, and more still out here playing. What do you mean? Okay, here you go. The office of mayor, city of Chicago. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all playing, and I ain't even gotten to the state booklet yet. I told y'all, man, we can build this. I'm right here, y'all. Listen clearly what I'm saying. I know doctors that's Moors. The office of the mayor, the city of Chicago, Ramel Emanuel, mayor. Y'all remember when he was the mayor? Come on. If any of y'all from Chicago, let's deal with it. Come on. Proclamation. Whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moorish Moabites, of the ancient Moabites, Hamites, and Canaanites, who were permitted by old pharaohs of Kemet to traverse from East Africa and later formed themselves kingdoms extending from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the Atlantic Islands, unto the present-day continental Americas. And whereas the indigenous Moorish people of the Americas are now united in order to again link themselves with the families of nations. How do you link yourself with the families of the nation? By annexing your El and Bay to the name your mama gave you at birth, your family crest, your coat of arms. You not lost that seed. I keep telling y'all, man. I keep telling y'all, where you from? America. Let's proceed. And whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, and South Americas, have formed a sovereign theocratic government guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice through virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as the Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous People, guaranteed in Charter. And whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in state of North Carolina, descended to become the first patriot of his mentally enslaved Moorish American people. In 1912, he was later anointed as El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the heads of Egypt and Holy City of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. As a result of the 13th Amendment, Moorish people were emancipated from slavery in 1865. Now, therefore, I, Raham Emanuel, mayor of the city of Chicago, do hereby proclaim January 8th through the 15th, 2012, to be Moorish American Week in Chicago, and urge all residents to recognize the events planned for this time, dated this 22nd day of December 2011. Ramiel, the mayor. So when people ask me who wrote it, I mean, pay attention to the science. Let's deal with the next city. Let's deal with the next state. Same thing, because this is the proclamation, whereas the Moorish Americans and the descendants of the ancient Moabite, I just read that, right? Right. And so this one is Moorish American Week in the city of Tacoma. And I urge all residents to recognize the events planned for this time. Witness, therefore, my hand and the official seal of the city of Tacoma, Washington, this 4th day of January, 2012, Marilyn Strickland, mayor. Marilyn Strickland, mayor. So when people talk about act like they don't know, they do know. I ain't got to sit up here and I'm just going to sit up here and make this up. That don't even make sense. January 8th, mayor, Moorish American Week, Joanne F. Foster, by Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake. We ain't talking about no sovereign cities. Hey, like I tell people, they can feel whatever they want. Like I say, people can always have their personal opinion. That's why we not understanding, because it ain't no such thing as a sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. So when anybody come with that, that's their humble misunderstanding, because a sovereign and a citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. So if you operating at that and you think that's what that is, I feel sorry for you. But let's proceed and stay in context. Those that's here. So, Moorish Americans in Baltimore, same thing, right? And witness, I have hereunto set the great seal of the city of Baltimore to be affixed this 8th day, January 2012, right? The mayor, Stephanie Blake, right? Stephanie Rawlings Blake, January 8th through the 15th. This was in 2012. I'll give a couple more. We witnessed whereof I have set my hand and caused the official seal of the city of Omaha to be affixed this 5th day of January 12th. The city of Omaha. What is that? Did I say Jim Suttle, mayor of Omaha? This 2012. City of Fayetteville, right? Moorish American Week. Anthony G. Chavon, mayor. City of Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Moorish American Week. Command its observance to all citizens. Witness my hand and the official seal of the city of Charlotte. Anthony R. Fox, mayor. Right? The city of Taylor by the Honorable Barbara Bass, mayor. Proclamation declaration, you know. January 8th through the 15th, 2012, at Moorish American Day in the city of Tyler, Texas, and urge all citizens to join in in recognizing them. In official recognition whereof I hereby affix my signature this 12th day of January 2012. Office of the Mayor, City of Little Rock, you know, City of Little Rock. You know, so Trenton, New Jersey, hereby recognize Moorish American Week. Marge Caldwell Wilson, Northern Word Councilwoman. Kathy McBride, Council President. So the council even agreed with it, right? Proclamations affirming Moors are aboriginals. So I ain't here to disrespect no one or people trying to argue or this and that and the other. That's because maybe you don't know how to navigate with everything else in life, you know? Not here to argue, not here to debate no one. Those were two quick things. And just like when I talk about the Holy State booklet, when I say no more shall lead no one in a burning house. No one, I told you, if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. That's why people can put their names on things, but they don't know what's already established can be looked up. I always tell Moors this. That's why all that fake fugazi stuff is not Moorish science, and I'm going to stand on it, regardless how anyone feel, you know? And when people be saying things and showing things, I say, yes, they might not be right. And I don't have to talk about people that's not right anymore. I'm going to say whoever promulgating that type of work is not right, you know? But let me give you a little introduction, because we on great time. We greet all Moors, and I greet all Moors in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, with high honors to the great God Allah, the Father of the universe, and his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and all the other true light seekers in the flesh. We wish to expound on how the Moorish Science Temple of America was declared a recognized free national government throughout the earth. And sometimes, as Moorish Americans in this new era of time, they struggle on explaining who we are within such an ignorant and unconscious society, being based in the color of law and the concept of, how can I say, Christendom and outside al-Islam. No disrespect. But in reality, if we teach and do this great work as a government properly does, while running this ecclesiastical body politic and corporate, then the people of all levels will understand by our great works and deeds and may be fulfilled on this divine and national movement as well. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated that a beggar nation cannot attain to its highest spirituality. our prophet instructed that I will keep the no disrespect European here long enough to teach you how to run a government. So let's stop begging for what we should be working hard to retrieve, but retrieve it ourselves, because the prophet is keeping the so-called no disrespect European here long enough to teach you how to run a government. And this is what we should learn how to do. So in this pamphlet, it can help you realize how serious this divine and national movement is, and to expound on what our mission is. Our mission is to uplift fallen humanity. All nations have missions to fulfill, and we will appoint missionaries to make certain that those missions are taken care of. So I hope many more take from this little introduction a precious value of in understanding and knowledge of this free national government being incorporated under the Hurd-Smith revised status of the state of Illinois as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. The Vatican State was incorporated under this particular act as well since 1929. And in this demonstration is a very basic concept of the Moorish Science Temple of America and how my temple and school, the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, is, organized and set up. And in this dissertation and in this small little piece of wisdom is to our best knowledge. And if there are corrections and add-ons that can be made, it can when it comes from love. But I'm not going to deal with a person that's just talking. So let's deal with it when I talk about definitions. So what's the definition of a state? Listen clearly. A state is a people permanently occupying a fixed territory, bound together by common law, habits, and customs into one body politic, exercising through the medium of an organized government, independent sovereignty and control over all persons and things within its boundaries, capable of making war and peace, right? And of entering into international relations with other communities of the globe. A political unity, concretely viewed, listen clearly, a state is a body politic possessing sovereignty. Any body politic possessing sovereignty is entitled to be called a state, but you're not no sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. Listen clearly. This is a good characteristic to be described the Moorish Science Temple of America and my temple and school, which is the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Why? Because the people described in the state would be described as the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America or the members of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And by definition of state, the fixed territory for our state would be where you at, northwest, southwest, northeast, and northwest Amexima per se. The common law habits would be focused towards our practices and Chapter 32 of the Hurd-Smith revised status of the state of Illinois. And by definition of state family, the character would have independent sovereignty. In our state is the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. In this context, it would be the brother that's doing what we doing in the same context. I'm talking about myself. Will be that true sovereign. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a sovereign body. We are not sovereigns, but members of a sovereign body politic and corporate. In comparison with the term state, now you define the term body politic, where all these criminal Moors be getting it twisted because they have no true understanding. Body politic is defined as a social compact by which the whole people covenant with each citizen, and each citizen with the whole people, that all shall be governed by certain laws for the common good. Also a term applied to a municipal, to a corporation, a school district, a county or city, a state or public associations. That's why I be telling Morris, I said, man, sometimes you need to be quiet because I know it's not more science. And when looking at the term government, you can see that this term has a connection with the term state, body politic and body corporate, and we can understand the similarities of these particular terms. Why? Because government derives from the Latin term what? Gubernaculums, which is defined as the system of polity in a state, that form of fundamental rules and principles by which a nation or a state is governed. So when I say polity is the form of government, whether theocracy, federal anarchy, etc., and so on. There are many forms of government, but this particular form of government that the Moorish Science Temple of America is, that the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School is known as a theocracy, right? Exactly. Now, a theocracy is defined as a government of a state by the immediate direction of God or by the assumed direction of a superstitious divinity or the state of thus governed, right? And as members of this body politic, we recognize the creator, God Allah alone, guides this divine and national movement. And a theocratic entity differs from the form of a secular entity. And the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple of School is a divine and national movement that has divine laws and holy laws that each member are to uphold and preserve. And if they are to earn the name of faithful, right? As afforded by what? Act 7 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws. That's why. I told y'all Moors are out of pocket. The Moorish Science Temple of America was established as a religious corporation by filing the Affidavit of Organization, document 1010-5905, Form 1099, recorded in the Recorder of Deeds Office in the County of Cook, State of Illinois, on August 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. And at that time, through this affidavit, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave birth to a free national government as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate under the revised status of the state of Illinois, Chapter 36, Section 36. So when you see that science, July 20 of 1928 was on the third day in the beginning of a new moon during the sign of Virgo. August 1st, 1928 was a day of a full moon. It wasn't no coincidence that on July 20th, 1928 AD, the Holy Prophet held a meeting, had the affidavit notarized, and recorded the affidavit on July 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. Look at the science. That's 7. The Heard-Smith Revised Status, Chapter 32, an act concerning corporations, Section 36, Religious Corporation Act, played a huge origin on establishing the Moorish Science Temple of America as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. You can't, it ain't no other Moorish Science Temple. If it ain't set up the right way like this, it's not the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's what you created. This is a fact. You can feel however you want to. How can any subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America not operate under the Heard-Smith Revised Status, Chapter 32, Section 36? Because this act clearly states that, and I quote eloquently with a silver tongue, any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious worship may be incorporated in the matter of following. And then, of course, we cross out electing and we put appointing according to its usages or our customs at any meeting held for that purpose, 2 or more trustees, aka warden or vestrymen, which I mean such officers who have the powers and duties that are similar to those of trustees per se, right? As shall be agreeable to the usages and the customs, the rules and regulations of such congregation, church, or society, right? Of course I'm right. And may adopt a corporate name, and upon the filing of the affidavit, as hereinafter provided, it shall be and remain what? A body politic and corporate by the name so adopted. Research Precedent of Law, capital P dot capital A, 81-1509. Tell me if I'm lying. I told y'all I'm right here. Let's keep going. So as you can see, when you study this Religious Corporation Act and glance at the Affidavit of Organization, which is the organizational form of 1099, you will see that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali followed the substantial form of this revised status or this revised statute, and then expressly organized a ecclesiastical body politic and corporate known as the Moorish Science Temple of America by that name so adopted. And this simple pamphlet with this demonstration will end all the confusion and foolishness of those who say that our prophet did not establish a nation state, because you're not Moorish Science Temple of America. I know many conspirators' hearts are beating rapidly now, so let's speed up the pace. Many people might ask, how was this body politic and corporate duly established? The answer is by filing in the County of Cook Recorder of Deeds Office an affidavit substantially expressed by the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali himself, being the presiding officer, just like I did with the BBT. He sworn that the meetings of the members was held. He stated facts of our power and authority and having the sheiks duly appointed, anointed, and consecrated. This instrument is well known as our authority, but is really titled the Affidavit of Organization. And by definition, an organization can include a wide range of entities. What do you mean, Sheik? I'll give you the entities. Let me get some libations. Organization is defined as a corporation, a government, or a governmental subdivision or agency, a trust, estate, partnership, or association, two or more persons having a joint interest, or any other legal commercial entity. So I can go deeper. In order to organize as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate at that time, a church, a society, or a congregation, pursuant to the laws of the Hurd-Smith Revised Statutes of the state of Illinois, the affiant had to file in the office of the recorder of deeds an affidavit, substantially in the following form of the Hurd Religious Society Act of 1872, Chapter 32, Section 36, codified by the General Assembly as 805 ILCS 110-36, from Chapter 32, Paragraph 165, Section 36. See, these is facts, right? And such affidavit or a copy, therefore duly certified by the recorder, shall be received as evidence of the due incorporation of such congregation, church, or society. Precedent in law case P.A. 91-357, EFF.7-29-99. So now that we looked at the substantial form of filing an affidavit, let's move forward to the affidavit of organization. Y'all ready? Because all this stuff is there. This is the revised. I got everything statute that our prophet had. This is the actual paperwork what he filed. I can't blow it up too big, but this is the actual paperwork that the prophet was filed in the county clerk recorder of deed. That's why I be laughing at people. I'm like, man, go on, man. Y'all just gonna continue to do this to people and act like this is not public information, because it is. But this is the revised status that the Prophet Noble Ali used to substantially draft out the affidavit of organization recorded in the County of Cook Recorder of Deeds office. So I don't want to stay in all that, but that's what it is. The Moorish Zion Temple of America derived this power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to promulgate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great Prophet of Ali in America. I don't want to stay all in that because that's just basic stuff, you know. So let's get to customs and usages, are defined as a usage or practice of the people by common acquaintance and by long and varying habit, has become compulsory and has acquired the force of a law with respect to the place or subject matter to which it relates. So the question is, what do members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and what do members of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School have far as customs? The customs that we have are what we practice, of course. They are the 5 highest principles that we practice daily, which should be love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And the Moorish Americans, our Moorish American prayer is a custom at the opening and closing of the Circle 7 meetings, celebrating the Prophet's birthday, January 8th, that I showed y'all the mayors all agree with, and our authority day on July 20th. Each year are also customs. Simply wearing a Moorish fez or a turban are customs. We have to honor our foremothers and forefathers, teaching our people that they are not Negro, black, colored, or misnomer Ethiopians is also a custom and a method of uplifting. Another custom is flying our national flag on the land of our ancestors, which is known as the Moorish flag, and has been flown in our land for over 50,000 years. And certainly the Moroccans in the Moroccan kingdom have adopted our flag and has caused great damage when we don't know. No disrespect to no one, the Moroccan flag has been seen by the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali since the 1920s, as the present Moroccan kingdom in Northeast Africa today have falsely adopted the flag in the year 1956. And there are many other customs as well that we take to heart, along with our royal heritage, when we say study, study, study. And when we look back at the definition of body politic, let's clear that up. We realize that there are important actions that citizens, nationals, and subjects are to make a custom with themselves. One action that I speak of is known as covenanting. A covenant of a citizen is an agreement or a promise of 2 or more parties by deed in writing, signed and delivered, by which either of the parties pledge himself or herself to the other that something is either done or shall be done or shall not be done, or stipulates for the truth of certain facts. So we got to stop right there. as Moorish Americans here in Amexima, now commonly known as America, under the divine leadership of our holy prophet and the teachings that I give to y'all. We are to attend our covenants put in place under this body politic. And there is but one covenant for the unity of the Asiatic race per se. And this covenant is known as a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. This is referenced in chapter 25 of our Holy Moorish Quran, Circle 7 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And this little demonstration was divinely prepared by our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And when you covenant through the holy covenant of the Asiatic nation, you covenant with the whole people, and the whole people covenant with you, right? And to covenant is to make a pledge, and a pledge has a broad definition. But the main focus for now is that it is a promise or agreement by which one binds himself, herself to do, or forbears himself, herself to do, or forbear something. The promise or agreement are the conditions of the pledge itself, right? And when thinking about U.S. citizens per se, I personally used to wonder why the 14th Amendment citizens pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. But unfortunately, brothers and sisters, in this context, U.S. citizens think that being born here makes you a citizen, and that's not true. U.S. citizens are naturalized, but not nationalized, and that's a big difference, and we can go over that in later speakings. But to lawfully be a subject or citizen of any form of government, depending on the rules and customs of that society under its constitution and government, one must subscribe and take what? An oath to its constitution and government, right? Right. Why do you think everybody over here have to come make an oath and an agreement, but you here, they don't want you to do? Why? Because you look at yourself as BLACK. You look at yourself as what? A beast. As the European writer wrote about the Negro is a beast. This goes for proclaimed Moorish Americans as well, by taking an oath of amnesty and reconstruction of Emancipation Proclamation, an executive order issued by President Abraham Lincoln in 1865. You are a true American citizen. This oath is to be subscribed by a grand sheik, which is a officer lawfully authorized to administer such an oath, and then such oath has been recorded in the county. That's why people be mad. I say, it don't matter. I'm part of the temple. I don't care what nobody say, and I have my own school, and I have my own charter and fraternal order. Man, we ain't stopping. And when a member of this body politic and corporate takes the oath of amnesty and reconstruction, he or she becomes part and parcel of the said government and returns back to the family of nations, which is the Asiatic nation. And the term said denotes something declared or before mentioned. And on our nationality cards, those that's part of the real Moorish Science Temple of America, like myself, and those that's going to speak the truth, Noble Drew Ali declared, you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Quran of Mecca, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Then he's shown you that you are a citizen of the USA, United Souls through Allah, coming out of a rebellious state. You have to take the said oath to be citizens of the perpetual union again. That's why I keep telling y'all, your religious rights trump this. But people say, well, I don't have no religion. Yeah, because I know you ain't part of no Moorish Science Temple of America. I showed you all the stuff that our prophet did with all these different nationalities, with Peter Lambert Wilson, with Sacred Drift, and you still gonna play the game. And I'd be like, man, that's why I said brothers will never get it. The term said government has been used in the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws as a couple of times, particularly in Act 4, 6, and 7. And it denotes a government in a former time, right? To be part of the said government is what? To be part of the government is to be an equivalent of what? Of what? Whether citizen, subject, or even property through citizenship or nationalization. The term parcel refers to a part or portion of land, a part of an estate. A parcel, as used with reference to land, generally means a continuous quantity of land in the possession of an owner. The estate that we partly own will be explained later in the teaching. Watch this. Do you understand what this means? To be part and parcel of the said government is to be a member of the perpetual union of the U.S.A. and in the existing rebellion like the Confederacy. This is why members who take the oath of amnesty and reconstruction are congratulated and welcomed back to the family of nations, right? Yeah, I know. That's why I be telling people, it's like, man, you're not telling the truth. This is the true USA Republic form of government in the land of our ancestors here in Amexima or America. The question in mind I ask you is, by taking the oath, the covenant, and proclaiming your nationality as a Moorish American under Act 6, are we members of two states, you may ask? The Perpetual Union and the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School? It makes you think about how deep the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is. It makes you think deep about what I have done. But the answer is yes and no. What do you mean? Now that we know that we are true citizens of the U.S.A, another question on many minds are, how is a Moorish American duly a member of a sovereign body politic? Watch this. Easy. There has to be conditions set for members intended by the founder for both agree upon. And if this is to successfully take place, so thankfully, Act 6 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America is the agreement between the members and the founders. That's why when people be saying they Moorish Science Temple of America, no, you're not. You're going to be convicted with how the temple was put together. That's why. So you might as well go ahead and say if anything happened, you're going to take your charges. Don't be like those people and sell each other out and rat because you're afraid to go to jail for what you've been promulgating. Go on and sit down. Go on and sit down. Is this not a pledge as well? The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali expressed that to be a Moorish American member of this body politic, you have to proclaim it, teach our people their nationality, which is Moorish American, and the divine creed, the faith of Muhammad, to know that they are not Negroes, black, colored, or Ethiopians, and proclaim a free national name, El or Bey. And in exchange, the person and effects will be redeemed by the Holy Prophet and an inhabitant of the north and southwestern shores of Africa. Study maritime and admiralty law. This is a beautiful position to be proud of. I'm thankful to be a Moorish American member of this body politic and corporate. Estate and property, right? Estate and property, right? Estate and property. Estate and property of. What we saying? Let's deal with it. Fee simple absolute is defined as an estate limited absolutely to a man and his heirs, assigned forever without limitation and condition. What we talk about, power of attorney, when certain things, just because the prophet passed, the temple goes on. If I pass, the BBT still goes on. Why? Because it's set up in a specific trust. Didn't I tell you that earlier in these teachings, how the temple is set up? You didn't hear it. That's the problem with these little young new generation brothers. An absolute or fee simple estate is one in which the owner is entitled to the whole property, with unconditional power or disposition during one's life and descending to the heirs and legal representatives upon one's death. Intestate. Such estate is unlimited as to the duration, disposition, and descendability, meaning it goes on forever. That's why I be telling people when they say they Moorish Science Temple of America, no, you can't be. Not talking how the way some of these brothers be talking. Respect. By fee simple, a man or grantor of our estate would be who? Noble Drew Ali. And the heirs would be the Moorish Science, the Moorish Americans with the free national name, El or Bey. Annexed, meaning annexed to your birth name. So be careful that you don't throw away your name for a morsel of bread. And since our Prophet Drew Ali is the owner of the whole property, his position of the estate is the holder in due course. And the holder in due course is defined a holder who takes an instrument for value in good faith and without notice that it is overdue or has been dishonored, or of any defense against or claim to it on the part of any person. A payee may be a holder in due course. And as Moorish American beneficiaries, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the holder in due course of any and all lawful instruments, real or personal estate, tenements and hereditaments of the Moorish Science Temple of America, because he is the owner of the whole or the entire property. Why? Because he created the temple, unless something been changed. The same way with the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. All the stuff we own is set in a certain trust to where this is what happens with it. Once it's transferred to him. And this is likewise when the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali grants the land described to us. And people be talking about, this is our land, this is our land. Are you not listening to what I just said? A transfer of land lawfully takes place when one falls in accordance with the deeds of conveyance and the fee simple absolute deed. Read Act 6 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Is our deed of conveyance. Act 6. With us, what do it say? All members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are not part, that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of so-called slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained our prophet Noble Drew Ali and put me in the flesh, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. And the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwest, southwestern shores of Africa. And I know that there is such a confusion as far as what land is the Moorish Science Temple of America. And this particular man is described as the 1928 vast estate in the Holy Quran, chapter 7, chapter 47, verse 1 through 7, verse 1 through 6 is the biblical description of the landmass, and verse 7 is the geographical landmass of the fee simple absolute. This is what is known as the lawful description of the land. It is best to use longitude and latitude, and I know most people don't know it, when describing the land coordinates by metes and bounds. All our lives, we've been taught to describe parcels by what? Lot, block, subdivision, right? Or an assessor's PIN number, right? This is what is known as a graveyard cemetery description. What better way than to describe unconscious people, dead per se, in the eyes of the law, right? This graveyard cemetery description only exists legally within the realm of the U.S. This is how you were plucked out of the land. You can read Deuteronomy 28 and 63. Do not think that the state of Illinois actually consists geographically within the boundaries of the present Moroccan Empire, and this is not to defame the body corporate known as the U.S., but it is a fiction construct out of the jurisdiction of the District of Columbia. The fee simple absolute name of our land is a Amexima, and it extends throughout northwest and southeast and northwest and southwest of Africa. Amexima, in this context, is the first true divine name of Africa in this context. So by what means can we determine that this is attested, the true name of the land? Our Holy Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 47. Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, right? I'm not going to read all that. Y'all should already know this. So from reading these biblical inscriptions and the divine instructions of our Holy Quran, Circle 7, you can understand how both connect with each other. Verse 7 is described by metes and bounds of the said fee simple absolute. Now that we know we are the inheritors of all the land described, how do we receive it? It has to be received through a trust. And that's what I be telling people. You are not Moorish Science Temple of America and you don't know what I'm talking about. It's some made up fictitious stuff. And you can't be mad at your brother because I love you. Hold on one second. Yeah, what I do with I thought I had my, oh, there it goes. Let me get some water. Let's proceed. We got to keep going because I'm helping y'all. I'm helping y'all. And you can feel however you want. Persons, trust, title of the holy state. In this topic, first I want to go into the sheiks of the Moorish Science Temple of America. According to paragraph 164 of the Hurd Smith, there shall be 2 or more of its members as trustees, wardens, and vestrymen of such officers, whose powers and duties are similar to those of trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usages and customs, rules, or regulations of such congregation, church, or society. Easily, by reading this paragraph, right, you can clearly get an idea on why there were 5 sheiks, officers, trustees, noticeably on the affidavit of the organization at that time. These sheiks were Noble Drew Ali, Mealy El, Mal Bey, Lovett Bey, and Foreman Bey. That's why I be telling y'all, I'm right here, y'all. They not right. Notes that these sheiks were and are government officials, as well as sheiks now. When I say I'm a divine minister and a sheik, and a government official in our teachings. Why? because we got to lead people the right way. Were these sheiks appointed or elected? Question mark. According to the affidavit, these sheiks were what? Appointed and not elected. Appointed from how? Wisdom and understanding. This ain't no, oh, I'm going to do this because I like him. No. Elected is in its official significance. What it is the idea of a vote. Persons of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School were not voted in but appointed. So it's obvious on why our Prophet Noble Drew Ali crossed out what? Elected and put what? Appointed. So let's look at the term appointed. Appointed means to what? Assign authority to a particular use, task, position, or office. This is also why our Prophet used the term appointed. Power and authority was given to those sheiks, myself, who were anointed, appointed, and consecrated missionaries of the Prophet. Those who want power and authority will have to go to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali for permission. And all who gain power and authority from the Prophet should stay, I don't like the word humble because that's a lower level rank in military, humble and nice. I say keep gratitude and they shall be rewarded. We shall be rewarded. What types of entities were appointed? The answer is persons. So watch this. Notice that the term person on the affidavit of organization was in all caps, as most people would ridiculously express, oh, the caps this, but let's proceed. You didn't know that, did you? Sheiks are what is considered interested persons, because you don't know, which include heirs, devices, children, spouses, creditors, beneficiaries, and any other having a property right in or claim against a trust estate or the estate of a descendant, ward, or protected persons, which may be affected by the proceedings. It also includes persons having priority for appointment as personal representatives and other fiduciaries representing interested persons. The meaning as it relates to particular persons may vary from time to time and must be determined according to the particular purpose of and matter involved in any proceedings. I hope y'all hear me. They lost, man. To act on behalf of a person, you can carry out and enforce the functions of that person under the state of XYZ. We are authorized by them to act as an agent. All our lives, we work unknowingly under a fictitious person that was given to us by the state of the United States. No disrespect. This person is basically viewed as an image or a mirror reflection that was constructively created and held under their constructed trust. There's no disrespect. All people. U.S. citizens are only third-party entities that receive certain privileges and benefits in exchange for protections afforded by the U.S. Constitution. But if protections results to stealing certain birthrights and inheritance, then why would you love being a so-called U.S. citizen? I'm just asking the question. We're not here to do nothing wrong because I know who I am. In other words, 14th Amendment citizens are beneficiaries of the constructive trust of that state. And a constructive trust is a trust that was constructed by an act of a party, i.e. the 14th and the 15th Amendment. And if you don't know these laws that hold you, then you won't even know that you were even held and it's still being held. The secret is there is no secret. The person is not you physically that they are holding, but a descriptive person you act on behalf of. Remember, take the time to understand trust law. I teach this. This is the key to holding property and land with protections granted by the truster. You can't be a trustee without a trust, can you? No, you can't. So what's the point of having sheiks in such a responsible position with no trust? In reality, a trust was created and with intent by the truster, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm teaching. A trust was established by the truster, which was the prophet, which was myself when I created our temple and school. And this trust is known as a 1928 vast estate, express trust. Such a trust you will have to express through the instrument and deeds of the truster, who had the sole intent to create a trust. Therefore, a trust is defined as a legal entity created by a grantor for the benefit of designated beneficiaries under the laws of the state and the valid trust instruments. The trustees hold a fiduciary responsibility to manage the trust assets and income for the economic benefit of all the beneficiaries. And if you guess that the Moorish Science Temple of America holds an express trust, then you are on the square. the same way we do at the BBT. This is the trust that we hold to prove that we are heirs, successors, trustees, and beneficiaries of what? Of what was established by who? The person that established it. I told y'all, I hope you're listening. Express trust is a direct trust. This is a trust declared in express terms. So when Moors, we talk about this our land and the Moor, and we own all this. Well, let's see what the Moorish Science Temple of America got in the trust. What? Nothing. Fuji dust. So you wrong. I keep telling y'all, you wrong. Everybody getting ready to go to jail. I know a lot of y'all going to jail. I know a lot of them already in jail, and they older than me. And I've been telling y'all, they were like, Sheik been right. You've been standing on your square. Yeah, I know. You can't use me after the fact. That's what you get. And usually in writing, as distinguished from one inferred by the act of a party from the conduct of dealing with the negotiable parties. Remember Act 6, a trust which is created by the direct and positive acts of the parties, by writing or deeds or will, or by words expressly or implemented, evidencing an intention to create a trust. Right? The point that I'm expressing from this definition is that it states by writing or deed or will, writings and deeds were expressed due to our valid trust instruments that the truster, Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, left to the Moorish Americans. And before I go into the deeds and writings that denotes the trust existence, you got to take a look at the term deed. Deed is defined as a conveyance of reality, a realty, a writing signed by a grantor whereby title to reality or realty is transferred from one another, a writing instrument signed and delivered by which one person conveys land, tenements, herdiments to another. How you going to do something together and you don't have nothing? You ain't purchased nothing. There are deeds that establish this transfer of the vast estate by the grantor, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, to the grantee. These deeds are the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Chapter 47, verse 1 and 7. This is the 1928 vast estate and Act 6 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws, which is the deed of conveyance. So in common law, what makes these two deeds lawful? It has to be sealed, instrument containing a contract or covenant, delivered to the party to be bound thereby, and accepted by the party to whom the contract or the covenant runs, a writing under a seal by which lands, tenements, and herminants are conveyed for an estate not less than freehold. The instruments of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws do consist of a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation, and Act 7 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws, which is a divine covenant. Now, once these documents are affixed with the corporate seal of the Moorish Science Temple of America, these transfers are shown lawful, but vary depending on the conditions of the trust. And by our people receiving the vast estate through the deed of conveyance, we become what? Fee simple absolute freeholders. Freeholder is defined as an estate for life or in fee. A freehold estate is a right of title to land, right? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Moors begging and America is for sale. We should be buying land. We should be coming together under our what's right that I teach, under our religious rights, doing what's right instead of wasting our breath. Right? Our Prophet Noble Drew Ali retrieved the land back from the nations through the 6th International Pan-African Conference. That's what they say. Held at Havana, Cuba on February 20th, 1928. That's what they say. This is what they say. He registered the title of our vast estate in the Torrance title, which he did. That's how he set the temple up. System of Cook County after he retrieved the land back from the nations through the 6th International Pan-African Conference. But when you say land, I'm talking about you are the vast estate. That you're not Negro, black, and color, and African American. I hope y'all are listening. He hailed at Havana, Cuba on February 20th, 1928. He registered of course you read the divine constitution and bylaws, but right, he registered the title of our vast estate in the Torrance title system of Cook County after he retrieved the land. What denotes that it is a title of vast estate is the fact that on the affidavit of organization in the upper right-hand corner of this instrument is book number 521, page number 579. And this particular book is of a Torrance title system that registers only titles of a fee simple absolute. And the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali could only register this title of the vast estate if he is the holder in due course of the estate. It makes you wonder why the Prophet stated, I brought you your nationality, religion, and title to your vast estate. And Moorish talk about, I don't have no religion, I'm born myself. I'll be like, see, because you ain't part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's why. And you don't know how the Prophet set the temple up. So go sit down. This is our requirement to show that he did indeed have an intent to deliver the vast estate to the Moorish American descendants. There are a few statements of the Prophet indicating that the Moorish Americans inhabited the Mexican territories, which we can use afforded by our divine and holy bylaws. For example, he stated the Moors were living up and down the Mississippi River before the so-called Europeans came here. You know the Mississippians, the indigenous people of the land. So if he attests that we were inhabitants of this land, why would you not use this language? Because if, no disrespect, the European is an inhabitant of Europe, then that is the European's country of origin, right? And in the law, which is the Holy Quran, Circle 7, chapter 47, verse 10, it states, and I quote, what your forefathers were, you are today, without a doubt or contradiction, right? Regardless who you are in the earth, you are who your forefathers were, without a doubt or contradiction, right? And if a European, an Albion, a Tralodike, no disrespect, an Anglo-Saxon, no disrespect, states that he is white per se, something must be wrong because they are who their forefathers were as well. There is no escape from the nature of which you came. See, these is facts. Verse 11, there is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his or her forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator of Allah himself, right? So when you take a look at these questions and answers below, the divine prepared by our prophet to our Moorish Americans, when I talk about our one-on-ones, what is his nationality? Moorish American. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans, aka Africans per se, born in America. The point is, whoever my ancestors were, I am today. And whatever they owned, I own according to specific laws of inheritance. I cannot change my descendant nature and make it true. Truth does not change. Do not think it is unimaginable. Isn't that what the lower self desires from you? To think negative of self? So think positive, Moors. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated, and I quote, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. And when he said this, he held up the affidavit of organization, our authority, and the one-on-one questionnaire for Moorish American children. And you probably think I'm out of my mind, but actually using my mind for you to comprehend the works of our prophet. Remember the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali also stated, the third and the fourth generation shall see the goods of my works. Read Genesis 15 and 16. Every generation is considered a time span of 20 years. The first 20 years is extended from 1928 to 1948. The second generation is extended from 1948 to 1968. The third generation is extended from 1968 to 1988. The fourth generation is extended from 1988 to 2008. The time span is reference to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America who proclaim their nationality, and those were born in those years. And the works of the prophet is everything on a physical and spiritual level to uplift fallen humanity from the mental slavery that he has suffered for many years, and the physical aspect redeems you and pardons your sinful ways. This is why the prophet said it will take to 50 years to find out what I brought you. And 650 years from 1928, a Moorish American by the name of Frank Louis L. Bay had discovered the existence of the trust in 1978. The trust that was discovered by the Moor is a irrevocable trust that can never be revoked during or after the life of the grantor. Remember, we can explain how to be trustee, beneficiary, envoy, counsel, heir, successor, and creditor to the fee simple absolute vast estate, the irrevocable express trust. Remember, we broke this down. We got a little bit more time. Did you know that the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is not applicable to you and is also a deed of conveyance? If a Moorish American proclaimed a U.S. citizenship under the 14th Amendment, he takes on a no disrespect, a Christian title and a religious creed of Christianity. No disrespect. But then how you going to be a Mason secretly and then you doing a call of prayer Islam? I showed y'all this earlier. I told y'all we got them. They done. The state would be claimant over the person. The title given by the claimant is simply the last name of the Christian slaveholder, i.e. Smith, Jones, John. No disrespect. Stay in context. Does a Muslim who takes a Christian name as his own and gets anointed through a Christian baptism obtain citizenship as a Christian subject or citizen? Yes. Would that Muslim who was converted, a Christian, fall in accordance with honoring his or her Muslim foremothers and forefathers? No. Because this are not the nature of our Moroccan ancestors, and it is contradiction with knowing thyself. This is why it's very important to study thyself and amend thy ways. Be the Muslim that you are, for it's written that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. As it states in your Holy Quran, Circle 7, chapter 48, verse 7. Therefore, we are returning to the, no disrespect, the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation in this context. Then verse 8 states, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning back to a certain type of Islam, not al-Islam. Remember, I teach this, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. Remember the covenant of our great God, Allah. Verse 9, the covenant of the great God, Allah, is honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God, Allah, has given us, right? Our ancestors honored their ancestors by carrying the noble titles El or Bey as their family names, right? This was done to distinguish Moroccans from the other nations of the earth. But unfortunately for Moors who want to use their titles of Ali, Al, and Day, no disrespect, you cannot connect back to the vast estate or the Moorish Science Temple of America using those titles. But you can do what you want. They are not declared free national names by our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which he established. The only free national names available to this new era time is El or Bey. You cannot partake in the trust by using names as follow: Ali El, El Ali, Ali Bey, Bey Ali, El Day, all those things. Day Bey. No disrespect. If that's how you operating. Now, could you explain it and do your own thing? Yes. But what's established, that wasn't established. So we just breaking down what's not established. If you were born John Doe, then the next Bey to John Doe as John Doe Bey, or vice versa, with the free national name L, and when you sign your name as John Doe L or Bey, whichever pertains to you. And also under the Trading with the Enemies Act, Title 54, in parentheses B, it's a crime to change your name. We seek to save your mother's baby, not some made-up invention you created. By changing your name, you abandon your birthright. You also break divine law. Your mother gave you a name. The law of nature, as well as ancient law, states that this is your essence. You violate the invention of your mother and the patent rights to her baby. And then you hear more talk about they birth they self, and then they want to wear a fez. I said, dude, you don't even know the birth cycle. You might as well go sit down because you playing. You just talking. And then they say they from a temple. Changing your name does not honor your forefathers. It just makes you look like you are stealing a person or changing your identity to hide something, your mother's child. This is kidnapping and a violation of human rights. The other man must pay for what has been done to you. You can trace there, and that's why our prophet said, why would you get rid of this? And you talk about you're going to bring up evidence, but you're going to get rid of something and to destroy something. You have no evidence. That's why I wouldn't defend no one or our prophet or someone told me to get rid of this. And when it's time for you to bring up charges, you have no evidence. So you need to go sit down because you gave up your rights for a morsel. So you need to go sit down. But you say you're part of the temple. No, you're not. You can trace their treachery in the birth records of our people by our names and also by the old census records. Honor your mothers and your holy prophet and your ancestors. Use the name your mother gave you with your El or Bay. And under the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the BBT, you have free national standards by proclaiming your nationality, your status, your classifications, your religion, your divine creed, and free national names. And to be free is not to be subject to legal constraint of another. But in reality, we are subject of the sovereign power of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if a Moorish American does not like being under the subject of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, don't complain. Just return your nationality card in. We are not here to help keep the status of a beggar nation, but here to teach you how to uplift fallen humanity. And being unconstrained is having power to follow the dictates of his own will. But remember, we are not following the dictates of our heart, but of our God, Allah, who is in our hearts. All of these credentials are adopted when a member proclaims his or her nationality according to Act 6 under the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws. And by reading this act, you cannot be a member of this state without proclaiming your nationality and taking on a free national name of your own. Then you will be able to provide in a society that free national standard that makes the man. And we right here at the BBT, we have ID. It don't replace nothing. If you want to be a part of something real, come on. I teach private lessons. I have a real brotherhood and charter. I'm telling y'all, man, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali set up what is to be known as the three-step redemption process. Remember, he did this through Act 6 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws, which is an expressive deed of conveyance to grant the person, the so-called straw man, to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And the so-called straw man, the person, no longer is held a debtor instrument, satisfying his debt to a rebellious society. And this redemption process consisted of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali claiming person as his own. This is a three-step process that's shown, right? When we talk about step 1, you must proclaim your nationality as a Moorish American and proclaim your free national name, El or Bay. I have the temple in school. I'm right here. You don't need to be no Eastern Star and be under some Daughters of America revolution. You don't need none of that under you. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. You can be a part of a temple, but if no one in there to teach you real science, you're not going to know nothing. It'll just be a club. And it's no disrespect. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali reclaims you as his own and restores to your birthright, your vast estate, your birthright. Step 3, once the prophet reclaims this person, the person is redeemed and restored a creditor by beneficial interest in the express trust that was duly created in 1928. What? How the prophet set the temple up. The 3-step redemption process is very simple, but very effective. If it is expressed right, this is why the title, prophet stated, I forgive you of everything you did before I came. Now you are responsible for your own deeds. Deeds in definition means deed, a conveyance of reality, a writing signed by a grantor whereby title to reality is transferred from one to another. In order that an instrument may be operative as a deed, it must pass a present interest, right? Although it is not necessary that grantee takes a present estate and property conveyed, right? The term is also used as synonymous with fact, actuality, or active parties, right? Thus, a thing indeed is one that has been really or expressly done, right? Express trust in that aspect, as opposed to in law, which means that it is merely implied or presumed what? To have been done, right? Because it was expressed. An intelligent brother who transcended by name of Brother Sheikh Arshkat Bey stated that, and I quote, a sealed instrument containing bound thereby and accepted by the party to whom the contract or covenant runs. We draw that our Holy Quran, which Moorish seals, containing a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation, is a sealed instrument containing what? A covenant and or what? A contract. And now the following is the second definition of a deed, which is a writing containing a contract sealed and delivered, and an instrument in writing upon paper or parchment between parties able to do what? Contract with each other. There is authority, however, that signing is unnecessary to validate of a deed. The word trust also relates and applies to this measure. Therefore, according to which all love, Black Law's Dictionary, the 4th edition, a trust is defined as, and I quote, a right of property, real or personal, held by one party for the benefit of another. And we are now responsible for our own deeds and our own actions, especially living accordingly to the 5 highest principles under Allah, the Father of the universe. The point that I express is that the person held under a so-called Christian claim and title through the birth certificate, no disrespect, is now being redeemed by the Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Redeem means to what? Buy back. To free property or article from mortgage or pledge by paying the debt for which it stood as security. This is redemption. This happens after the prophet reclaims you. Therefore, reclaim means to claim or demand back, to ask for the return of restoration of a thing, to insist upon one's rights to recover that which was one's own, but was parted with conditionally or mistakenly, as to reclaim goods which were obtained from one under false pretenses. Hear the voice of the sheep herder, right? The person John Doe L per se is under false pretenses because he is outside of self, my brothers and sisters. Because the person John Doe is under the power and authority of the state of XYZ, whether it be by what? Contract or making a pledge to whom or whatever is or was designed by the state of origin. And unfortunately, my Moorish brothers and sisters, many 14th Amendment citizens are pledged as what? Collateral to pay off the national debt of the U.S. No disrespect, supposedly. Therefore, pledge is a bailment of goods to a creditor as securities for some debt or engagement, right? Therefore, a pledge is considered a transaction, a bailment, or a delivery of goods or property by way of security for a debt or engagement, right? Or as security for the performance of an act, right? Therefore, a bailment is a delivery of goods or personal property by one person to another, right? Now, if this person is truly property, what type of good does the person have to show that he is? Because all property has a description of goods, and I've listed the goods of the person in a little bit as I go to it. And don't take this as a joke. This is a very serious situation. Like John Doe, right? His address, eye color, all that. That's a breakdown. Mate name, mate mother name, and all that. The goods of the property are simply the description of the person. The goods of the property are simply what? The description of the person. I hope you listen to me. A person is considered being personal property by being what? Tangible, i.e. what? Portable land per se. This is not a bad thing. Now that we have the remedy to redeem this person of said false pretenses, right? Think about it. I said we got the keys. Listen clearly. Everywhere in the world, there are properties and estates being under someone's claim, right? Title and jurisdiction. And the thing is, right? Whoever has the highest claim, title, and jurisdiction over that certain property wins the absolute claim, right? Stay in context. Whoever is entitled to the whole property has to do what? Show his demand over the particular property or estate, right? I know I'm right. This is what we call a claim, right? This is the same instance when a person proclaims his or her nationality according to what? Act 6 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws. And the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali becomes what? The claimant. And at the BBT, me, myself, ccrd Goodman Bay becomes the what? The claimant of the person that has been redeemed. And now the person becomes a subject of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, bound by the holy and our divine laws. And he or she is no longer subject to the state or sovereign powers from which he came from. Why? Because you've been redeemed. You've been adopted. The religious rights trumped all that. And then we given our nationality, which is the 2/5 that was taken from you from slavery. After the claim has been made of debt, estate, or property, a notice in the newspaper or law bulletin for 3 successful weeks. Remember when I do unions, I said all we got to do is put it in the paper. We don't need no third-party contract. Our prophet ain't tell you to go to those city hall to get a marriage license. Our prophet said if you don't want to abide by my teaching, we'll go buy your wife. The same thing I'm saying, because people write things, but they don't tell the truth. Those be those Freemasons and those NBC Masons that be Muslims in secret that I showed y'all earlier today. Requirements differ in different states. Will give to whom it may concern a chance to challenge what is being published. This notice is unchallenged, then it stands as true. And now we can get to the point on how duly redeemed, we got a little bit more time, how duly redeemed help brings yourself back to the family of nations. If y'all rocking with me, talk with me, man. But how through? By our Moorish consulate post, providing you with certificates of enrollment and adoption, being amended by resolution to make an amendment to the affidavit organization, our authority, Form 1099, document 1010-5905, that I showed y'all in the county clerk recorder of deed. It ain't no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. Book 521, page 521, recorded in the county of Cook, state of Illinois. I broke that down already, right? Right? Y'all know I did. Section 36, such congregation, church, or society may change its name or make other amendments to its original affidavit of incorporation by passing what? A resolution of such amendment in accordance with the rules and usages of such congregation, church, or society, and filing an affidavit to the effect in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is located. Where that? Illinois, the county clerk recorder of deeds. I told y'all, because they not Moorish Science Temple of America. All of them that say this and they talk all that, no, they not. I couldn't recreate the school part of the temple. That I said, I'm not going to do this because I know the semantics and what's wrong. I'm going to create my school and bring all more than all true light seekers and those that's 5%ers that's going to teach the truth. We're not here for that. That's why I be laughing at Moors when they be saying they part of the Moorish Science Temple. And I say, which one? Because it's only one. And then they don't know anything, for no disrespect to no one. And by reading this is why we have documents of registration making such amendments to the original affidavit. The process that we have with the Moorish Science Temple of America consists of an affidavit with 2 certificates, one being a certificate of adoption and the other a certificate of enrollment with a resolution of such amendment ready to be recorded in the recorder of deeds office. As this states in paragraph 165 before mentioned, filing an affidavit to the effect in the office of the recorder in the county in which the congregation, church, or society is located. Right, family? Absolutely. And whenever you want to amend yourself, something or someone to the affidavit of congregation, it would be satisfactory to be recorded in the office of the recorder of deeds of the county of Cook in Chicago, Illinois. And since the affidavit of organization was recorded in the county of Cook, this location is the seat of authority for the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, regardless how anything anyone say. If it's Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc., they set that up wherever they set it up at. That's facts, because it ain't Moorish Science Temple of America, so stop the cap. This is why our Prophet Noble Drew Ali addressed Chicago as our new Mecca with our affidavit of enrollment and adoption. Your person is enrolled, adopted, and redeemed by the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And this makes you children of the Prophet, right? So therefore you become beneficiaries, creditors, and freeholders of the before mentioned 1928 vast estate. Whatever the Moorish Science Temple consists of, not what you think, because you are entitled to what? The land which conditions described in what? The 47th chapter of the Holy Quran, Circle 7. Have you read it? The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali is beyond magnificent and has decided almost his whole life to restore us to what was lost, borrowed and stolen on a spiritual and physical level. The Prophet was and is evermore to be using the science of the principle of what? correspondence, who could do what he did in a time span of 43 years and then predict the outcome of it. In a world full of free will, many Asiatic seekers redeems remedies fit for, no disrespect, Europeans, but who will the Europeans run to when the business world is overturned? It's happening now. He is truly a prophet. He came to us because we needed that science, and that's what I do. This letter, this R, represent the word register or record. Register means to enroll, enter precisely in a list or the likes, and the word out of this definition is enroll. This is why you will have, this is why you will have or have a certificate of enrollment. If you register properly in the Moorish Science Temple of America, which people be saying they Moors, and they be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, especially if you don't have what I have, I know it's not Moorish Science Temple of America. The term enroll means registered, recorded. General term, registered and enrolled, are used to distinguish certificates granted to two classes of vessels. Registry is for purpose of declaring nationality and nationality of vessel engaged in foreign trade, and enrollment evidence national character of a vessel engaged in coasting trade or home traffic. The classes of vessels we use are both. We coast trade by granting so-called John Doe to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Home traffic is self-explanatory if you take the time to think about it. So I will let you figure it out yourself, because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has declared that you are a Muslim under what? The divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And does your nationality card issued by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali? By the Prophet? And does your certificate of enrollment evidence your national character engaged in coasting trade and home traffic? Because the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated, money does not make the man. The free national standards make the man. And this affidavit of certificates duly proves you are a registered Moorish American. So to your conveyance, use a certified copy of your document according to the Heard Smith Revised Status, Chapter 32, Section 36. I gave y'all the precedent of law, 805 ILCS 110-36 from Chapter 32, Paragraph 165, Section 36, as evidence of this recording as the Heard Smith Revised Status. So I don't want to, let me give y'all one more before I get out of here. Let me see if I can find something, because I've been going long enough and I got to get up early in the morning, early. So custody of state, listen to this. State custody is the care of the control of a thing or person. Those who have the care and control of a person or thing are trustees, or whatever name thy may adopt. Chapter 32, Section 43 of the Heard Smith Revised Statute states, and I gave y'all that. I just wanted to say that. Let me see. I want to find one more thing before y'all, because our brothers are lost. I think I might stop right there. I think I'm gonna stop right there. So this is what I've been telling y'all, man. I said, no, we lost. And brothers can talk all that more science stuff and with all that hate and all that barbershop, but that is not how the temple set up. Now, because some people set temples up and they may be part of the Moorish Science Temple of America before, yes. That's why I said I'm not going to try to recreate something and say I'm the reincarnation of Noble Drew Ali. Man, I'm my mother's and father's son. You know, and so I created my temple and school. I have my own charter. I have my own fraternal order. And so my doors are open. And it's a lot more that we're going to reveal to the people. It's a lot more. And so when brothers be saying they Moorish Science Temple of America and they be spreading hate and division, clearly, I don't know where they're getting that from. And that's not Moorish Science Temple of America, what they be promulgating. And brothers have to be honest. Brothers have to be real honest, because if you was part of the Morris Science Temple of America, you should have the basics is how your temple is set up. How you don't have the bylaws and the basics, how your temple set up. And you say it's Morris Science Temple of America. When you join and you become a member, you should have all the basic instructions of how your temple was set up by your so-called holy prophet that you say is your prophet that gathered, compiled, and divinely prepared the holy book. How can you say you Morris, part of the Morris Science Temple of America, and you don't know this? You see, that's the confusion. That's the confusion. Because what the prophet did was nothing bad, and I can show y'all all European Masons that give credit to Noble Drew Ali. And our people be playing, and then other nationalities like Europeans will jump on here and be playing and know you a Freemason and know you are practicing Muslim in secrecy. So it ain't even no reason to be on here acting like that with each other. And you know it. You know you a son of a Muslim. There's no reason to be on here playing. And that's why I tell all my misnomer BLACK brothers, I say the joke of masonry is the misnomer black man, not the European. Why? Because the European will tell you clearly that he or she is a son of a Muslim. The misnomer black mason will tell you that he's some widow's son. So I call a misnomer black man what? The joke of Islam or the joke of masonry. It's no disrespect to no one. All this stuff can be cleared up real fast. And so now Moors they'll still be part of things. They'll still be giving they dues to things that's not right, and I'll be right here. That's the sin. That's what I tell people. I don't trust half of these people that be saying they Moors, none of that. I don't trust none of them, and you shouldn't either. Why? Because what they operate under is something that ain't right. And then here come a brother like myself coming with more wisdom, and you will still be a part of that. You will still be a part of those things and know you're not even getting those at your temple in your school. Why? Because I know it. And I ain't even said nothing yet. I got way more that can really take a person out of their mind and be like, well, damn, I've heard that a plethora of times. I know you heard it. I know you heard it, but it ain't no facts to it because it ain't Morris Science Temple of America, because it ain't nothing righteous. And these people playing. That's why they arguing over, oh, did this person the reincarnation of Noble Drew Ali. Everything that Noble Drew Ali did is public information. Everything about the Morris Science Temple of America, how it was set up, the bylaws, the Declaration, Proclamation, the letter to the mayors, everything is public information. So when you get on here and play that magical stuff, you in trouble. And I'm going to keep standing on it, man. I told y'all, these people not right. And then they'll lie in your face. These people not right. You know? Because they don't want to be themselves. They not right. But then here it is. I can do this every single day and clear up everything. Clear up how the temple was set up, especially if you say you Morris Science Temple of America. I'll be like, dude, clearly you can't. Because if you're a member of the Morris Science Temple of America, you should have 3 IDs. You should have your travel ID, your member ID, and your tax ID. You should have your Declaration Proclamation papers. You should have your adoption papers. It's a whole bunch that I show. Matter of fact, let me see, do I got some of this stuff saved on my...
What's your favorite?
Let me see, do I got some of this stuff saved? Let me see. I don't know. I might have some of this my other stuff saved in my phone. That's why I be when Moors be saying this and that and the other, and I don't like showing this stuff because it don't mean nothing. It don't make me better than no one because it don't. But when Moors be saying this and they be all braggadocious and this and that and the other, I said, dude, stop. They say they Morris Science Temple of America. They this and that and the other. Then when I start showing them things, I be like, well, how you Morris Science Temple of America and you don't know this? And you don't have this, and you say you're a member of the temple. How you don't have this that's going to keep you in check? Why? Because they don't want you to know. So it ain't Morris Science Temple of America because it ain't nothing secret. That's why. And if you say it is, then you got to say you limited. And our people won't even be honest with themselves in each one. You got to be limited. If you Morris Science Temple of America and you don't know this basic science, and I ain't even went far yet, I'm still in like English 9-8. A person that ain't ready for English 101 and 102, and you done flunked out of it a plethora of times, and they say you got to go all the way back to English 9-8. But you talk about you part of some elite teachings, and then struggling in real life as well. That's what I'd be laughing at, that poor science stuff. Be like, man, go on with that barbershop talk. Let me see if I can find something for y'all as we close, because I'm done. I want to show y'all this for the brothers that be talking. And it's a lot of Moors that be upset too, but I'll be like, I don't care. I don't put no faith in man. I'm running over that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you've been a part of the temple this long. You ain't telling the truth. So what? I'm part of the temple too. Now what? Now what? I ain't rolling with it, and I got my own temple in school. Ain't no man over me. I don't care who you call. Call Ghostbusters. Give me a second. Let me see. Can I find something for y'all? And if not, I'm going to find it in my pictures because I know it's in my pictures. Matter of fact, let me look at my pictures. Photos. Maybe I can find it in here. No thanks. Continue. Collections. It'd probably be in here. Let me see. Is it in my, hold on. That's my college degrees. When people be all upset, oh, you this, that, and the other because you got college degrees, because you got, no, man, no, you feel that way. That's your fault. That's your fault. That let you know I'm not going to play with you, and I'm not going to let nobody play with us. Hold on, let me find some, y'all, because I know I have it in here. On this device, hold on. Screenshots, I think it's screenshots, hold on. Let me just show y'all something real fast. I know okay, here we go. I thought I had them. Let me see, can I find it, y'all? You just please bear with me. We getting ready to get out of here, but I wanted to make a point real fast. Maybe it's on this one, let me see. Okay, maybe this might be it. Give me a second. Please bear with me, we done. But here we go. Okay, so when brothers be on here that say they part of the Moorish Zion Temple of America, have they ever seen this? Have they ever seen this? That's why I be laughing. I be like, dude, you know it ain't nothing about what you. Why? What this is our this is our Moorish Science Temple of America, International Consulate of America Moors, Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, a founder, 259 North Pulaski Road, Chicago, Illinois Republic. But they ain't operating the right way nowhere. The number might be still open, but a lot of them Moors ain't writing either. That's why I stand on my own. Ecclesiastically, body politic, and local government, Moors Bureau of Enrollment and Affairs, Moors allodial deed, commercial affidavit of conveyance, adoption, and enrollment. I solely affirm that this Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, as holder in due course and claimants of equity and fee simple absolute of Northwest Southwest Amexima, has redeemed me as creditor. Chapter 47, subscribed and sworn to me on 26th day of December, 130 AD, 2016, Kari Goodman Bay. That's my appellation. This affidavit proves that I am a beneficiary and heir to all present Moroccan Moorish Empire. In the words, it makes me the landlord and creditor of fee simple absolute. Islam. The Europeans have been the custodians over our government and land. Our ancestors had given them the authority until we woke from a long sleep. I personally give thanks to the Europeans for the protection and the upkeep and development of our land, described in our Holy Quran, Circle 7. Divine instruction from the Prophet, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. Page 1, all liberties revised. So if you say you part of the temple, you got that, right? Let me proceed. No, man, no, I know you don't. No disrespect. And this don't make me better than you. This don't make me better than no one. But let's proceed. This right here is one of my 720 from the temple. It's a lot of paperwork, but I'm just showing some. So when you say you part of the temple and you be promulgating stuff, you're not telling the truth. Because they ain't Moorish Science Temple of America. Noble decree, we the supreme grand body and the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, granted sovereign powers by the great God Allah and his illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali, greetings to whom it may concern. By the powers of this charter of warrant and dispensation, this supreme grand body bestow a title of nobility to member Kari Goodman Bey, that is descended from the royal house of Judah and of the house of David. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali, agents of the Christian Church, the Vatican, or any other corporations in the Roman Curia, cannot molest, trespass, or violate our divine rights granted by our great God Allah. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali to register all nobles of the house of El to their title of nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25:10. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali, pursuant to our authority, all Moorish Americans are exempt from prosecution except for murder or rape. Now, when he's saying that, meaning you don't supposed to be doing nothing. That's what that means. Let's proceed. 720 dispensation. Here go my other 720 dispensation. So when they more we talk about they more science, no, you're not. No, you're not. And so just say the truth. We, the supreme grand body and council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, deriving its powers and authority from the great God Allah and its prophet Noble Drew Ali, to whom Allah has sent to redeem his people, the fallen sons of daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America, the said supreme grand body and council is authorized and empowered to initiate and confer degrees to said temple upon any person or persons duly qualified, approved in accordance with the established forms, usages of the laws and edicts of the illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, its jurisdiction to administer to all true members all the privileges and benefits to all Muslims of the West. Noble K. Goodman Bey, 720 degrees, is hereby granted dispensation of said debt as the heir to the vast estate and express trust of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the dominion of Kush, Northeast and Southeast Africa, and Northwest and Southwest with his father's dominion of Africa. Old man Kush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan, pursuant to U.S. Department of Justice, capital BM dollar sign HR one capital WD 144-35-0. That's the agreement, right? Come on, let me give y'all a couple more. This is what I'll be telling you. When they say they Moorish Science Temple of America, here go my House of Bey, title of nobility, 720 degrees, Moorish American Muslim, with our seals and everything on it, for you can see with yourself. If you say you Moorish Science Temple of America, I'm sure you have this. I'm sure you have this. Here go my 720 Allah. May Allah bless. May Allah's blessings and protections always be upon the House of Bey, title of nobility, certificate, Curry certificate, Noble K. Goodman Bey, register of the Noble House of Bey, a descendant of the Royal House of Judah. Here you go right here. For you can see with your eyes. And I'm right here. And nobles don't want to fall in line. And I'm teaching right too. Like here we go right here. With your eyes, you can see. I don't care how mad people be. Don't make me no difference. Here go my United States American Free National Republic, 1774. The U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, 1863. Our amnesty oath. As I read, Curry Goodman Bey, do solemnly affirm in the presence of Almighty God that I will henceforth faithfully support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Union of the States thereunder, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all acts of Congress passed during the existing rebellion with reference to slaves so long for as not repealed, modified, or held void by Congress or by decision of the Supreme Court, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all proclamations of the President made during the existing rebellion having reference to slaves so long forth as not modified or declared void by the divisions of the Supreme Court, so help me God. My name, Curry Goodman Bey. The Sheik was Walton L. And I told you, peace be among his soul. He did some things that weren't righteous. It is what it is with the tax things, but whatever. That's why you can't deny what the prophet did. That's why I move on and let people stay in their rut. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali to register all nobles of the House of Bey to their title of nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25:10. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali. Moorish Americans are the Royal House of Judah, descendants of King David, the fee simple absolute deed. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father, Ham, and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexima, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between father and son, the dominion of Cush, northeast, south, east Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Land joined them, and the Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle amid the inhabited Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitant extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Let's see if I got more. I think that's all. Oh no, I still got more some of my paperwork. Okay, here go my baptism certificate. Right, here go my baptism certificate. When Moors say they part of the Moorish Zion Temple of America. So, okay, it's only one. When you say the Moorish Zion Temple of America, it's only one. So don't be mad. The Secretary of Defense, full agreement, October 12, 1953. File number 1-17, Washington, D.C. on the 25th. The Pentagon, the Moorish Zion Temple of America, redeemed surety bond. On the stamp, we got it's the stamp is our receipt. It's our redeemed surety bond. You know, we got the address, Pulaski Road in Chicago. Name given at birth, Corey Goodman. Free national name given at baptism, Noble K. Goodman Bay. You know, true race, Asiatic. Nationality, Moorish American. Religion, Islamism. Date of conveyance, 10/20/2016. CCRD document, 10/10/5905. BK 521, page 579. Status for all y'all Moors that we ain't this status. You say it's Moorish Zion Temple of America. What do it say your status is on there? What is our status? Free white. If you don't understand that, that's on you. Birth certificate, surety bond, you know, 109-1977-01-2265, redeemed surety bond. My mother name, my father name. One that possesses this baptismal certificate has been redeemed by the illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali and delivered by a fee simple absolute deed that restore all rights and property. Said person has been revoked from the St. Peter's Trust and the Magna Carta Charter Christian enrollment that held my person in bondage. I am a Muslim of the West, a descendant of Moroccans and born in America. We, the Supreme Grand Body, bestow privileges and benefits and grant dispensation of said person by birthright, an original inhabitant of north, south, western shores of Amexima. Well, I think I got some more. Is that it? Oh no, I got more. Okay, here go my Muslim missionary decree certificate for the adapt chamber. If you say you Moorish Zion Temple of America, and your heart got to be pure. That's why I said I can go way more. I got way more to say. That's why I'll be waiting for people to show both of their hands, and then we coming. The adapt chamber, the 720, the Muslim missionary decrees certificate, Supreme Grand Body and Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Zion Temple of America in Mecca have been invested with the sovereign powers by the great God Allah and his illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali to confer degrees of a Muslim, the West of a Muslim of the West to a person or persons that has been raised 180 degrees from a shadow grave, son of a widow in the North Gate. I, Noble K. Goodman Bay, my obligation as a Muslim missionary by free will, the obligation of the nobility of the elect of the Moorish Zion Temple of America, teaching the Asiatics of North, South, and Central America to love instead of hate. As I travel the burning sands from the east to the west in 39 celestial steps with my staff of comfort, my companion, the beast of burden, and my Hebrew master logo of perfection, I do hereby, upon my holy Quran, Circle 7, demonstrate my degrees to raise fallen humanity from its imperfections with the degrees of social duties, justice, charity, gratitude, and sincerity. In my travels, Allah guides my feet in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and I shall not give ear to falsehood, hypocrisy, and deceit. As I travel the burning sands, I possess my charter of warrant and dispensation, my authority to pass through all ports unmolested with my divine rights and privileges. All sons of a Muslim must hold true to its obligation to nobles. Did you hear what I just said? Let me say it again. Because all you Masons, what? Are sons of Muslims. So let me say it again. Let me say it again. Let me go back. All privileges and all sons of a Muslim, must hold true to its obligation to nobles, Muslims, and the Mohammedan by word and deeds. So that's why when you see these practicing Masons that I showed you, they Grand Convention, they doing the call of prayer Islamically, right? With all due respect. With all due respect. So I give gratitude, y'all, for y'all time and listening to little old me. But truth has no size. And just like, let me show y'all something else, how we going to stamp on another neck. You see, when the European or the misnomer Negro Masons, this is what they'll say is the mystic shrine, the ancient order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, the European. They look at the date, 1914. Look at the date, the modern stuff. Now, let me show you something. Let me show y'all something. In this document right here, the real Indian is the Negro, aka the Blackamoor. I have all this stuff for y'all. Let me read something to you, to my nobles, and to the brothers and sisters that don't understand. You see this picture right here? I'm gonna read something to you, and I'm gonna read the date. So when I told y'all, our brothers, these Prince Hall Masons and all this dead stuff that they practice in Muslim and secrecy, they the ones keeping you subjugated, not no European. Because the NBC is the joke of masonry. Why? Because the European is the son of a Muslim, and all sons of Muslims have to obey nobles. It's in their charter, and it's in our charter. That's what I keep telling y'all. That's why a lot of these people, they not right, because they keep doing criminal stuff. Listen to this, and I ain't saying if that's Master Fire Muhammad or not, but in the document, it do say that. But I ain't, like I said, I ain't worried about that. But in the Moorish literature, the Moorish Science Temple of America, this man is presented in the literature as teaching Noble Drew Ali ancient architecture of the Moors and an Egyptian origin. You know, like we ain't following that. They say his name was David Farr, according to historical eyewitnesses. And people say that ain't him in the picture. It's always the disagreements how it is. But okay, whatever. Let's just stay with this. And its Egyptian origin. The name David Farr, according to historical witness, was requested by Noble Drew Ali to sit over the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, some Muslims say, and Nation of Islam Muslims say, they didn't know each other. Okay, well, whatever. As a helping guide to maintain order while Prophet Noble Drew Ali was dealing with the police in respect to the death of Claude Green, right? In October 1928, this is what they say. But we ain't dealing with that. I want to give y'all some history. David Ford, they say pictured in the convention. But we're not going to say that. We don't care. Listen to the science. There are many Masons shown in this picture. The development of the MSTA saw the influence of many high-degree black Shriners, Masons, and secret societies. Listen to this, particularly the ancient Egyptian the ancient Egyptian Arabic order of nobles of the mystic shrine, started by Noble Ali Rofel Pasha and John George Jones in 1893. But then I just showed you what the European and these Scottish Rite and these black Masons, I showed you the Europeans and the so-called NBC Masons, 1914, modern. Watch, I'm going to show you. And these secret societies played a major role in the events during the late 20s and 30s and governmental changes in America that have great importance to the events happening presently in respect to the subject of reparations and the New World Order. So, remember, the ancient Egyptian Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. Listen to this. Started by Noble Ali Rofel Pasha and John George Jones in 1893. Now watch this. When I told y'all our people not going to tell the truth, and I told y'all I'm on that head. Look what this say. The secret ritual of the so-called secret work of the ancient nobles of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. The Imperial Grand Council of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine by Dr. B.H. Steelyard, 33 degree, that's snowman wisdom, that's in meteorology when water freezes. Imperial Grand Potentate, July 1914, Washington, D.C., July 1914, July 1914. You see with your face down there, July 1914. July 1914, and then we go back to our teachings, and our science, the ancient Egyptian Arabic of the nobles of the mystic shrine, started by Nobel Ali Rofel Pasha and John George Jones in 1893. Huh? And y'all afraid when I illuminate this science, I'm gonna keep showing y'all. Right, brothers and sisters? That's what I wanted y'all to see. I wanted y'all to see this. I'm right here. Let's continue to build, and I need y'all help. You have to deal with something that's right, and I've been right for a long time. Come from under all that stuff that's not right, brothers and sisters. Have some pride about what you're doing. It's okay, like our prophet said, you're not responsible of what's going on right now, what you was part of. If our prophet was alive today and you part of, oh, this is the part of the Morris Science Temple or something that he created, and it ain't what I'm talking about, you think a prophet would be upset with you getting out of that and rocking with me? He'd be like, look what my temples has resorted to. And then I'm right here, and I said, no, I got to come up out of that because I was part of the temple. I'm an educator as well. Them brothers in there playing. There's a whole bunch of old people and a whole bunch of people that just playing. That's why they poor. They filing fake documents. They riding around. They doing things that's meaningless. Stuff that you wouldn't be teaching your kids. That's why I said I'm right here. And it ain't science. And all these people say more science temple this, more science this, and I'm part of this temple, or I'm part of these people be saying they part of some Supreme Grand Council. And I'll be like, what's going on in your Supreme Grand Council? What's going on in your Supreme Grand Council? Because clearly nothing. Especially if they say they more science temple of America and they don't know nothing I'm talking about. They don't even know how the temple is set up. How are you more science temple of America and you don't even know how the temple is set up and what the prophet did and you promulgating something? Anybody got anything they want to add? Any mores? We should be done. I'm right here. How can you be part of something just because it's local and then we got the internet and social media and you don't want to be part of this and help us build our physical temple and our library and our community center, our boutique? I sell feathers. I sell turbans. Man, I have everything for us. Why would you stay in something that you know is not right? Why? And that you know you limited in your wisdom. You don't have to diss nothing. You can add value to. You got enough of you learned enough where you at. And maybe you haven't learned nothing where you at. That can be a situation as well. It's just like people that you wasting time. Is there anything else anyone want to add? Because there's no disrespect to no one. What I'm saying is, man, truth comes to the light. It's our science, what? All of it. And it must be taught the right way. All of the science is there. And when people say they more science temple of America, I cringe because I know they not teaching nothing that's valid. Just because you dressed up in things don't mean you teaching right science. Just because you dressed up as an Egyptian don't make you an Egyptian. It don't. Just because you part of something don't make you part of something that's good. It can be a whole bunch of people going down to burn the house. That don't mean some people might not be nice, but it ain't no more science. You capped out. It's like you going to community college and you've been at community college for 4 years. You ain't learned enough yet at the community college. You ain't time to graduate. So you're going to be stuck in community college. That's sad. I'm a map and a guide, and I have keys for us. And I've been telling brothers, why don't brothers want to help us establish something? Be a stakeholder of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Let me anoint you. Let me give you your fez. Let me give you your Moorish American attire so on Holy Day or in Juma, you can wear your cultural regalia. We be listening. You hear Nation of Islam Muslim talk about, oh, you dress like an Arab, or because you got on a safari suit and things with patches. That don't mean nothing. These are native clothing that's native to Africa. The tunic, cotton or silk, the turban with the jewel is high priest. The followers of Yahshua wore tunics, cotton or silk with the embroideries. No, I keep telling y'all, the copy Jew. Everything was what? Adopted. What? Our attire. Hitler adopted the fez. Mussolini adopted the fez. You know what I mean? Leopold adopted the fez. That's what I keep telling y'all. I said things be stolen from us and then used for their own measure. And then here today, y'all follow me and we on social media and y'all not bringing all people to the storehouse. Especially if you say you're part of something, save some people. Save some people. Don't everybody fall in the Titanic and you here with me. Save some people. It can be, that's why the scripture said, is there 2 or 3 people that you feel can save? Then I won't destroy everything. It ain't 2 or 3 people on here that can be saved, that you just gonna still sit there and still beat a drum and act like you don't know what I'm saying is valid. And you say you part of the temple, or you say you some Mason, and I just showed y'all all y'all Masons is practicing Muslims. And the European is a son of a Muslim, and all sons of Muslim have to obey true nobles like myself. I keep telling y'all, I'm just showing y'all a tittle. I got a whole bunch more. Next, I'm gonna show y'all their charter saying what I'm telling y'all. That's why I say that they'll tell you that they sons of Muslims. They not no widow son. I keep telling y'all, your science is wrong. And a lot of Moors that say they Moorish Science Temple of America, if you don't have a state booklet and you talk about some 1099 and some trust fund, you off. And everything that you've been promulgating, putting on the video, are going to be used against you because the mandate has been out. That's why a lot of Moors, you don't see them no more. That's why a lot of people you see on social media talk about, you can file this and be this, you don't see them no more. Why? Because cases being brought up against them again. Don't y'all know once some people start claiming things and saying that they've been had, the feds jump back out here. The feds got a thing called the Internet Task Force. That's why I said, man, I don't have to say names. I can say all of them. I'll be waiting for people to come on here. They all going to jail. And they all got PFI cases. They all getting ready to go back to jail. Why? And they all going to get a court-appointed attorney and plead to a lesser charge. But you say this more science. So I'm going to stand on what I'm saying. You playing. Who? Every last one of them. You saying that some 1099 is some trust fund at the end of the rainbow and you got a plate with a 1099 talking about these are Moorish American plates. I just showed you that that's not factual. I don't care if you call yourself Duke of Tears, with all due respect. I respect anyone. I'll tell them to their face. I don't care about no badge. Don't no badge mean nothing. The same dude, the other dude did that. The Don Caliminali dude, didn't I tell y'all he got a badge saying the same thing? I told y'all, I said, this is a joke. But we fall for this caricature stuff. We fall for this stuff. Because we be listening to these people just because they got a fez on with this fake magic mumbo jumbo. And it's not more science. A broken clock is correct twice a day. When you come with that more science stuff and you lie amongst a group of people that what you saying can damage everyone and can get people messed up in a group of gullible college students and people that's looking for things and come with all that garbage, you would not say that around me because you know. Because you know that I know that's cap. I'm telling you that AA22 number ain't nothing but like a dog number. It has something that can be looked up in the Library of Congress. These people know that, but we don't know that. And if it's so special, I know so many dudes on social media, thank you, such and such, help me get this badge. That's why I told y'all this stuff is not authentic. Somebody helping you get a badge, but the other dude, with all disrespect, asked the Duke of Tears where he get his badge from, and then asked the other dude on social media, talking about, yeah, I pulled this badge out on my mama, asked that dude how he got the badge. So who badge valid? Which one of them is valid than the other? Man, both of them get locked up impersonating people. This is why I be telling y'all, this stuff is meaningless, and y'all be playing a dangerous game. You need a badge to do what? Who put you in position? How long is your tenure? You don't want to be who you are. What a badge gonna do? A badge ain't gonna stop you from being no criminal. That badge ain't gonna stop you from going to jail. You think that you done lost your marbles. And all these people got badges and done everything. How is it special? How are they special and all these characters doing it and they come up with this badge? Huh? And y'all think that means something. And then try to use more science a little bit to draw you in. And then come with all this Roger Elvick crazy paperwork redemption movement stuff or this paradigm group stuff. Let's talk about it, y'all. Right? Am I right about what I'm saying? Absolutely. And Moors is messed up, making this movement messed up. We right here. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all for listening to me for this little bit of time. Do anybody got anything they want to add? If y'all want those documents, if you want the state booklet, if you want the letter from the ccrd, if you don't have those documents, the Declaration of Proclamation, I can give that to you. If you want to give it, if you want to donate a small donation, I'll give it to you. And I gather to compile a plethora of books for the culture. I gather compile a plethora of books for the culture. So it's no reason for people not to tune of the wisdom. And if you want fezzes or turbans and tunics and all that, I sell them at morrishaberdasher.com. It's no reason not to be in the know. It's no reason to be out here operate as a sovereign citizen, which is an oxymoron. It's no reason to be out here talking about you finna expatiate from this de facto government. And when you do that, you will be a domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. Who taught you this stuff? Who raised you? None of that stuff is more science. And a bigger nation cannot raise itself up to its highest capabilities. You see, and no man, woman has the power to nationalize you or denationalize you. It'll change you from the descendant natures of your foremothers and forefathers. And if they can nationalize you, tell them to go nationalize the Sudanese, the Chinese. These people have no power. It's all a joke. They play in cosplay, and they're not Moorish Science Temple of America. And if they were, y'all, as I close, if they were Moorish Science Temple of America, because some people were part of the temple, and then they break up from the temple and then teach you stuff that can send you down in a burning house because they do that because they don't love you and they know you don't have the information. Well, I'm right here standing. You can't get played like that no more. I don't care how old they are. I don't care if y'all call this is our Grand Sheik. I don't care all that Moorish consulate with that Shalimar Bey and then that one that y'all call y'all Sheik with the missing teeth. No disrespect with the hair. They was all in it. Where the Shalimar Bey do now? Where the Moorish consulate at now? It ain't no Moorish consulate. And I told y'all, it ain't no Moorish consulate. These people have been playing, and a broken clock can say correct stuff twice a day. And I don't have to go all into deep of what nobody's saying. It ain't like that. And people got to stop acting like they mad when people correct teachings and be like, man, that ain't real science. And try to say that ain't what he thinking. Man, you ain't finna twist those teachings on no one. You know? And I don't know what you mean when you can search membership on the websites. I don't know what that means on the websites. You have to know it have to be more Science Temple of America. That's what I be telling people. Like when people say websites, I be like, what websites? What are you talking about? RBV Publishing? What websites? This is what I be saying because it has to be more Science Temple of America. It ain't no more Science Inc. And then you have to question that. You have to have someone like myself. That's why I be telling people what website. What do the website say? That's why I be telling people we should have these conversations. You know, what do the websites say? If they're telling you got to send all your information, your this, and that, and the other, how do we know it's valid? Anybody can make a website and saying something. This is what I tell people. It's easy to make a website. That's why, would you rather deal with a website or would you rather deal with a person that's real tangible right here? I ask people that. That's part of something. Would you rather deal with a website or would you rather deal with Malcolm X that was part of something and say, hey, we ain't going to this, but we building something? You know, what would you rather deal with? A person that's part of it, that's an educator, that's a sheik, or say, well, I'm going to look at the website, and I'm not telling you. And then I ask the person, well, what temple you want to be a part of? Where at? Is it a temple in your city? Is none of that? So what type of member, what is being a member of the Moorish Science Temple about? This is what I always ask people, because I've been breaking stuff down very simple. I said, do you think of the Moorish Science Temple of America, what it's about? Do you want to be part of the right temple? Or are you just want to be a part of the temple and think you finna get some ID and you think you finna do a status correction? Do you think the Moorish Science Temple of America do status corrections? I mean, because this is what I want to know. Because membership means nothing. Your travel ID, your membership ID, and your tax ID that you get from the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's all it's for, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and it don't replace nothing at all. So I be asking people when they say they members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and they be talking out the side of their neck, I say, dude, that is not what being a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America consists is. And you know it, well, you probably don't know it, but it ain't. And they gonna lie. So I'll be telling people, like I said, okay, would you rather be a part of somebody that's living, that's tangible, that can show you all their paperwork from the temple, or I'm gonna go to some website and a person that's really teaching? Because if that's the case, we looking for an easy way out, which most people do. They look for an easy way out. Why? Because they want some paper. They want some paper without the application and being the study, and so they want to act like that paper means something. You know? That's what I tell people. And anybody else, that's why I tell people, I say, if they're not here, there's no reason to be disgruntled because other people learn. So when people say any topic not about us declaring political independence and governing our own is just word salad, that's why people don't know, because I told people, people's energy is messed up. We always like to say things, and nationality is order of the day. Your money is political. So that's why I tell people, do you understand your finances, or are you still paying taxes to Uncle Sam and not supporting your religious and charitable contribution of your choice? That's why I tell people we have to listen and talk. When I talk about what? Tribal business. But a lot of us just want to be talking and yelling. And I say, if you're not here to learn, there's no reason for no one to be here and be disgruntled. And how can I say? you know, I want to say the right word without disrespecting no one else, but not being a nuisance if people are here to learn. Because if a person say, well, I just tuned in, but that's what we here to do. Because we already own land. I'm trying to bring people in. We own land. It's things that we can do. We tax them for the federal government. That is about being political. So if a person don't understand that, that's on them. Because you're already independent. You were born that way. So we bringing things back to our remembrance. That's the thing with a lot of our people. That's a lot of thing with our people. They so upset because they don't want to sit down and learn and add value too. So they'll be disgruntled. And that's why I tell those people, you have to just stay where you are. And I'm not saying that to a person in a disrespectful manner, but when a person said any topic not about us declaring political independence and governing our own is just word salad. So I say, what if we on here talking about health and wealth and finances? That can be word salad because it ain't just one way to build a nation. It's consistent of all these things. It's consistent of knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature. It's consistent of we knowing who we are. So when a person, just like a lot of more say, well, they just want to deal with civics, but you don't know who you are and you don't know how to do things the right way and you don't know processes. So learning and understanding and getting the basics can't just be word salad. What people be trying to do is get in that shake weight era and they trying to jump steps. That's what we do here. And that's what people be doing. And I say, you don't understand nothing about Silicon Valley. Most people don't understand nothing about think tanks. Most people don't understand the power of what the prophet did, as I've been showing people. Why? Because we are not willing to learn. The first thing we do is this. I've been breaking things down about commune and community and about being brought up the right way. And that's the first thing that we do. We always show what? Our disgruntledness. We always show our lower self. And I tell people, if someone teaching, they look like you, be here to learn. If not, then just go back to where you are. And that's what I tell people, because we've been grew up and I ask a person how old they are. And I said, have you said that to your teachers? A person might have went through high school, go to church, be Masons and all this, and won't say nothing to their organizations. But when someone is giving wisdom and teaching, we have so much to say. And that be the problem with us. Because I bet you with other people on here that's learning, that's why they continue to come. We don't have ciphers. When brothers say, well, I ain't here to learn and or I ain't here to follow no one, that's the problem. And I'll be asking people, did you grow up with your dad? Nope. I can tell. Did you have big brothers? I can tell. Why? Because I can tell. Because you don't have no process of following something that's right or looking up to something that's greater than you. I know most people that don't be having fathers. Why? Because that's how they talk. They don't sit down and converse things and come up with good solutions. They don't do this. And then I ask them, well, what's your background and things? Nothing. And so that be word salad. Because when I ask a person, well, what do they mean? I always ask a person, what do they mean? Any topic not about us declaring political and independent and governing our own is just word salad. Well, I ask a person, well, give me some things about declaring political. Because what's declaring political independence and governing our own? How can we govern our own? I always ask brothers for solutions. They can't, but then they don't understand what the prophet did and how the importance of what we talking about. Your nationality, your race, your status. Understanding you tax exempt from the federal government. Understanding your religious rights. What have I been talking about every single day if it's not contingent on those things? That's why I tell our people, I said, man, words have synonyms. We lost. With all disrespect, why? We lost. With all due respect, we lost. Why? Because this is what we resort to. And it's no disrespect to no one. This is what happens when we just say stuff. And I say, okay, well, why are you here? And what part of building society and political power are you a part of? And think tanks and groups. And are you putting money together and have political power or building your own nation? Because we have land. The man, the woman that own land and can grow food, you can reproduce. We're doing that right now. Reproducing our own literature. We're teaching people their nationality and their spirituality. That's political freedom. We're teaching people that they're not Negro, Black, and color, and African Americans. I'm teaching you your freedom. So when people say these things, clearly we be lost. It be distractions. And I say we don't have time for distractions. We don't have time for us to be arguing with semantics no more. And that's what our people be doing. And we don't have to accept it. If you don't understand that and you haven't been here learning, I ask people just remove themselves because we don't have time for nobody else word salad. clearly we don't be listening. And that's what I be saying. We a stiff-necked people, man. And I always got to say that. My homeboy said, yeah, because what he talk about, Sheik, he clearly don't know all the work that you done, all the people that you done help, all the kids that you help, all the single moms that you help, all the people that you help graduate from college. And what he said, he talk about building political and the nation of people. You've been doing that. And maybe he wasn't saying it directly. I don't know how the brother was saying it, but it's all love for your kind words. That's what I'll be telling us. If a person ain't here to learn, there's no reason to even come here. Don't even pop on. It'd be showing a person aptitude. And that's why I'd be telling us what we give attention to if we're not into it. Do your thing. And everybody okay with it. But don't be a distraction for others that's here to learn. If a person go to university and they learn in a certain craft and you don't want to learn no more, don't be in there hating on everybody like, man, I hate the teacher. Don't you hate the teacher? I hate his feds. And they say, no, we love this brother. We here to learn. If you don't like what's going on, you have every right. The same way you came in, you can walk out the same way. Because ain't nobody paying nothing. And that's what I be telling people. We messed up. And we a lost cause because if you're not talking about the past things and building a nation and understanding your religious laws and breaking this stuff down, you will never ever build nothing. Especially if those people, I ask the people declaring political, how can you declare political independence and we can't agree on who we are? And a lot of people talk about they want reparations, but still identifying as Negro, Black, and color and African American. You have people that making these topics, and I go ask their mom and their dads and their wives and their close ones, and they'll be talking all this stuff about declaring political independence and governing our own, and they whole family, they'll say that they Negro, Black, and color and African Americans. They mamas, they girlfriends, they wives be like that, but they don't take that same energy back home. And then you'll ask their close ones and they be talking all this political right stuff, but they don't be that at home because don't nobody want to hear that crap. That's why I be telling people, man, sometimes people just need to be quiet, but they don't. They always say what we need to do. And I say, well, what do your household talk about? What do your household be? If you down with reparations, you will say, yeah. Then I say, I bet you your mother say they black, you know? And see, this is what people be saying. You see, no, Brother Bear, he say, man, get out your MF feelings. That ain't it. That's what I tell y'all. This is how people be. They say stuff because they be upset. You see what I be saying, Brother Bay? This what men do. Nobody upset with nobody on social media. But this what people do. And that's our fault. Because we say things. And when somebody respond, this is what we do. We get upset because you in your feelings. We can't have conversations like we have in academia when we have lectures and people talk about things and they be like, I never thought about that. You're right. Well, what's your solutions? What are you going to do to solve things instead of talking about in generalities? That's what we do. We don't get upset when we have think tanks in academia. That's why, but that's what we do with each other on social media. The first thing people do, they get in their lower feelings and start throwing insults. But you wouldn't say that to me in my face. And this is why I'm saying why we can't have conversations and people can't build up. If a person thought 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 is 14, and someone said, no, it ain't 14. A person can't even sit there and be like, well, wait a minute, brother, where you get that from? The first thing a person want to do is start getting upset because a person is like, well, what about this, brother? Let me show you these twos. Or what about this? That's what we do. And we